You're watching Obama in Springfield. The President Returns, a News Channel 20 special report.
Good morning and welcome to a very special edition of News Channel 20 as the capital city welcomes President Barack Obama back to Springfield. I'm Adam Reif.
And I'm Jen Sullivan. Today we bring you full coverage of the president's visit. We have Jordan Abadea, who is live across the street from the Capitol, who will be recapping the president's speech. And we have Brendan Cullerton, who is monitoring the road conditions.
We begin our coverage this morning, however, at the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Airport, the Capitol Airport, where reporter Eric Feldman is standing by with Mayor Jim Langfelder to welcome the president from Air Force One. Eric?
Don't worry about that. That's fine.
We're out here at the airport and security is on hand, Secret Service, local police, airport authorities, as we are awaiting President Barack Obama's arrival. A White House official telling me just moments ago he is still expected to arrive on time within the next half hour. And now we are joined by Springfield Mayor Jim Langfelder, who has the honor of greeting the president when he arrives on Air Force One. So the obvious question is, what are you going to say to the president?
Well, give him a warm welcome to Springfield in February, but talk generally. My family comes from the Dunham family, and his family does too, so I'll probably mention that and welcome him to Springfield, and we really appreciate his presence here.
Is this the first time you're meeting him? Have you met him before?
I met him when he was state senator, and then this is the first time as president, though.
Right. Now, we still keep getting calls. We reported a few weeks ago about how your plan to not have that $50,000 reimbursed to the city police for providing security for a 2008 event when he was a presidential candidate. What is your response to people who are continued to be upset? I mean, we've had the budget talks where we've talked about how the city is in a tight financial situation, and you're just letting $50,000 go. What is your response?
Well, that's a service we provided previously. In 2008, that was probably when the economy turned and it was a different situation. Well, we provided that type of security to Mr. Trump when he came, and we're going to do so to all the presidential candidates in the upcoming election. So really, we don't have anything in writing. It's not enforceable, and it's a service we should have provided. And his presence here is a lot larger economically to the city of Springfield and its importance in history, as I think the future will hold.
Was there any extra security provided for today's event?
Well, you'd have to talk to Chief Winslow. There is extra security with regards to the police department, especially with blocking the roadways for the motorcade, which I understand I'll be part of, and taking that trip to the Capitol. So I'm looking forward to what he has to stay at the State House.
And that will be covered by the city as well?
Yes, that's correct.
Any idea how much that is?
No, but we're going to track it, and actually this is a great time for us to track expenditures for all the campaigns that come to Springfield, and then the city council can gauge, whether we want to set a cap on it. But again, security is a service any municipality should provide, dignitaries, especially with the president.
Now, the president's going to be addressing the General Assembly to talk about the lack of a state budget that we've had for several months now. What do you hope to come out of this? What is your sort of hope in this? I mean, we've talked about how CWLP is owed millions of dollars by the state.
Well, I hope everybody puts partisan politics aside. We're the home of Abraham Lincoln. It's government of the people, for the people, by the people, and that's what I hope they open up their minds to what the president has to say and really have a coming together to represent the state of Illinois and especially their communities, because everybody's suffering with no budget.
Do you think anything can really come out of today's address?
I think so. I think, people really keep the open mind. I think the legislators will, come to the realization what's best for the state of Illinois in their areas. We're here to represent the people that elect us, and it's time that we put, politics aside and get to do the people's work.
Now, you've talked about with me last week how you wanted to give the president a key to the city. That's not going to happen, you've told me. You told me that last night. Do you have any plans for the future to honor the president?
Yeah, I've had initial discussions with the governor's office as well as Secretary of State to do a commemoration for the president's legacy, President Barack Obama's legacy in Springfield, and actually commemorate different areas that were important to him, and then we'll have that tie in to his importance as president and his tie-in with Lincoln as well. So we're looking forward to working with the governor's office and Secretary of State to make that happen, as well as other entities.
Great. Mayor Langfelder, thank you so much for your time and enjoy meeting the president.
Thank you.
We're going to send it back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Eric.
But again, let's run down the day here as the president arrives on Air Force One.
A lot of lawmakers will be traveling with him, including Senator Dick Durbin.
That's right. Yep, Illinois lawmakers will greet him at the airport as well. And after getting in the motorcade, he'll head down. We talked about some of those road closures. Again, if you didn't move your car by 8 o'clock,
you're out of luck. But you do have to call the police department, and they'll let you know exactly which area it was taken to, because depending on where you exactly were, the tow truck could take you to a different parking lot. So we do want to let drivers know that.
So for security purposes, the White House did not tell us which route they're going to take, the motorcade from the airport to the Capitol. But again, we do expect him to come down shortly after arriving at the airport. Events closed to the public, as we know, as we take a live look at the airport right now. Closed to the public, so there won't be a whole lot of meet and greet on the scene right now. Again, he's not going to be shaking hands, not just because of the temperature, but for security purposes. Not allowing people there to welcome him. As again, this isn't a campaign stop. This isn't a meet and greet, so to speak. He's coming to speak to the lawmakers, so we do expect him to jump right into that as soon as possible. Again, we have Eric Feldman is live at the Abraham Lincoln Capitol Airport. And Eric, if you can hear me, we do hear from your crews, actually, that White House officials say within 5 minutes. What is security like there at the airport?
And it might be Air Force One, it might not, but it's definitely coming into the airport. Definitely coming into the airport. As we had reported a few minutes ago, they're expecting to have the plane come in momentarily. It left about 2 hours ago from Washington, D.C. Again, we have eyes on an airplane coming in to Abraham Lincoln Capitol Airport with President Barack Obama possibly on this plane. He's joined by Senator Dick Durbin and some other Democratic lawmakers. Now, a little background on Air Force One. There are actually two of these planes that the president can fly. They're both Boeing 747-200 models, and it's a massive plane with tons of room, tons of space. It goes about 600 miles an hour, faster than F-16 jets. You can see, obviously, that plane coming in. We've got a shot of that right now as it is slowly approaching the airport. It's about 4,000 square feet, the plane, with 3 levels. It's got 2 kitchens, a presidential suite. It can also serve as a bunker if there was a nuclear crisis facing the country, and it can even deflect missiles if there was one coming towards the plane. We are now getting a better look at the plane. It looks like that blue head to the plane that is pretty classic for the Air Force One plane. Wheels, you can see, are down as the plane is coming in very shortly. Should be landing within the next 20-30 seconds, I would say. Lots of security here on hand. Along the route, we saw almost a dozen police cars, and obviously lots of people here on hand for security, Secret Service, local authorities, local police. And here we go. Air Force One is touching down here in Springfield. That classic United States of America labeled right on the side. Loud, loud engine as it comes through. Hear that jet? How about that? Yeah, that is see the United States emblem on the tail end of the plane as it is landed here in Springfield. It is supposed to circle back around where we are right over here, where you see there are a few security personnel who are waiting on hand to greet the president. He is also supposed to be greeted by Springfield Mayor Jim Langfelder, as well as Illinois Governor Bruce Rauner. Now, there was some controversy. We did speak with a representative from Congressman Rodney Davis's office, and he was not invited to go on Air Force One with the president to accompany him here, even though Senator Dick Durbin, for example, a Democrat, was allowed onto the plane, and Congressman Davis was unable to make it out here. They're right now in session, so he will not be here, even though this is his area, this is his district. He will not be here in order to greet the president. So we see the plane is now starting to turn back around towards the area where we are heading, and after the president disembarks, we'll have that quick greeting with the mayor and the governor, and then he will head off to the Illinois State Capitol, where, as we've been talking about all morning, he is set to address the General Assembly about the budget impasse that has been going on for several months now, and how to try and work together through this. And after that, he will be off to the Hoagland Center, where he will be addressing supporters and fans and people who have known him over the years during his time here in Springfield. So again, the plane has landed. It landed just, I'd say, about a minute or two ago, touchdown here at Abraham Lincoln Capitol Airport, and it is now slowly making its way over. It's taxiing over toward the terminal where we are right now on top of a truck of sorts. It is jam-packed with media, and you can see it is slowly approaching us right now. President Obama is aboard Air Force One, and he is joined by several Democratic lawmakers. And again, he will be greeted by Mayor Jim Langfelder as well as Governor Bruce Rauner.
All right, that's Eric Feldman. Thank you, Eric. We're going to check in with Eric in just a moment. We are taking, again, a live look at Air Force One right now at the Abraham Lincoln Capitol Airport. And President Obama landed just moments ago, about 2 minutes ago, right on time. Again, live look at Air Force One. Again, our crews are one of so many at the airport right now.
You could even see them when
shoulder
we were
to shoulder.
moving
Exactly.
the camera. They are in such closed space here because there's just so much media attention. This is the first time the president is visiting as the president to Springfield.
In all, the second time as president from 2009, he had the Abraham Lincoln birthday celebration in 2009, a few weeks into his presidency. But you can see that in addition to, obviously, the president's arrival, this is the only place that a lot of media are going to get to see the president. Again, very tight-lipped, and a lot of people in the media unhappy with the amount of coverage we're being given in the actual State House. But this is one of the places that the media will get to see the president for the first time, and maybe the only time, here at the airport. So that very familiar color scheme on that Boeing airplane as Air Force One taxiing back to Abraham Lincoln Capitol Airport. This airplane, as Eric touched on, is just a phenomenal piece of machinery with so many different pieces of security built in. Taking a close look there at the cockpit, President has not only his office, there's a built-in gym. There is food on hand at all times to feed 100 people at any moment. 87
different phone lines on that. It goes about 600 miles per hour. To give you an idea of just how fast that is, that's almost the speed of sound. That's how fast that aircraft travels.
Gas tanks hold about 53,000 gallons of fuel, and that's to allow the president to stay in the air as long as they need to. And there's also the capability, much like military airplanes, to refuel in air. And of course, that did come into play in 2001 during 9/11 when President George W. Bush was in the air on Air Force One. They kept him up there as a security measure for quite a while until they could secure some airports. So again, a live look at Air Force One here has landed at Springfield's Abraham Lincoln Capitol Airport. President Obama has arrived back to the place where he spent several years as a state lawmaker. President Obama saying it was in Springfield that he learned and saw what was great about America. And we await now. It should take a few minutes here to secure the airplane and to decompress and get him ready to come out. But it looks like if he does exit the airplane here in this shot, that we'll get a pretty good look at the president. What we haven't seen, Jen, is the motorcade yet. We do know that those cars came yesterday on a pre-flight here to get him.
And then he will load one of those, and then he will go straight to the Capitol, where he will address the General Assembly at around 1:15.
We did hear Eric Feldman talk to when he interviewed Mayor Langfelder. Mayor Langfelder believes he'll be on that motorcade. Here now you see the jetway being wheeled out, and what a neat experience here for everyone in Springfield to see the president return. Just neat to see that airplane, so iconic. We've seen it fly in so many different important locations and important shots, and now the focus of the country right now on Springfield.
And a lot of prep work at the airport to make sure that everything was secure for the president to land. They were up early this morning making sure that the Secret Service knew where they were going to be, where security personnel was, just to make sure that everything goes smoothly for the president's arrival.
This here in the back of the airplane looks to be the press and support staff as they get ready to exit. The president should exit near the front, so let's be sure to keep an eye towards the front of the airplane again, near the jetway, as we get our cameras back to the front. There, the president traditionally makes that exit there at the front entrance again. He is on the main deck, and or if he isn't, he will walk down to the main deck, and you see that's the
getting ready to open it up for the president to come down those steps.
Presidential seal not only on the door but on the side of the airplane. Interestingly enough, it was Jackie Kennedy who worked with engineers to redesign the inside and the outside of the airplane. It didn't always look like this. It was traditionally just a military airplane, chrome or metal, and it wasn't painted. It was Jackie Kennedy, President John F. Kennedy's wife, who chose this color scheme. She also worked with French designers on the inside to make it as opulent as it is now. It used to be just a desk. We talked about it a little this morning.
Yeah, we did. You said it was called the Sacred
Cow was the nickname initially.
Now they nickname it the Angel when it's in the air.
That's right. So Air Force One here, one of 2 airplanes fully equipped to handle the president, and we are awaiting his departure here. Eric Feldman is still on the scene here. We will stay with this airport shot for quite a while as we wait on President Obama to exit, but I don't know how soon that would be. Eric, if you can hear me, we did see a shot, and we want to stay on this front door here, as this is where the president will exit. But you see a lot of the people coming from the rear of the airplane. Who do those people appear to be, and how many are there traveling with the president? I think we're waiting to hear from Eric Feldman. I'm not sure if we have him here as we're working to get that audio.
But like you mentioned, it was a lot of the press that travel with him. A lot of national press come with the president. I think the New York Times is with him, a representative from Reuters, AP, somebody from ABC News. So when the president travels anywhere, he does have a small pool of national press that can cover him and write articles about him. So that's usually who's probably coming out of the other side of the plane.
Now, again, we are expecting President Obama as we take a live look again at the Air Force One, which is at Abraham Lincoln Capitol Airport. We're awaiting President Obama's emergence from this door, and he will step out, presumably wave to the crowd that is gathered. Again, this is closed to the public, but plenty of media there. It looks like we're getting a little shoulder jostling as people look to get the best view of the president. But again, President Barack Obama has landed in Springfield, where he spent 7 years as a state senator.
Another reason why we're seeing the camera shake a little bit is also because all of the cameras are on risers, and when anybody is on the risers, one little movement causes the camera to shake. So that is why we're seeing this. Here's President Barack Obama
emerging with Senator Dick Durbin. Let's listen in if we can.
I don't know if you guys can hear me now. We had a little audio trouble, but that's the president, obviously, Dick Durbin, coming through.
This is Eric Feldman. Again, we are working on these audio the microphones there. President Barack Obama emerging, meeting Governor Bruce Rauner right here. If we can pull out just a little bit, we are blocked just a little bit by this motorcade. And again, this is the president's advanced limo. This is also a very secure vehicle. Very good shot. Thank you very much. Let's go look at the president again as he and Senator Dick Durbin are greeted by Bruce Rauner, as well as Jim Langfelder, I believe, is there as well. You can see his head just above that door. But this limo is secure, as you can imagine, bulletproof glass, thick walls, and he is ready to get in that motorcade in a moment. Again, we don't expect him to come over near the cameras, as there's not much of a crowd to join him, to greet him rather, but plenty of support staff will be working their way to the state capitol as well. But the back of the head right there of the 44th president of the United States, Barack Obama, has stepped foot in Springfield again for the first time in nearly 7 years.
It's interesting to see that he is now speaking with Governor Rauner. You can see him on the other side of the president. So many people speculating about what they could be talking about before he addresses the General Assembly. Josh Earnest told the Chicago Tribune earlier today, the one thing we will not hear from the president is advice on what should be done to get rid of the gridlock that's going on in Obama's home state. So,
absolutely. Yes.
So I wish we could hear, I wish we knew what they were saying right now, because I'm sure they have a lot to say to one another.
The White House and President Obama have not been shy about the theme of today's address and working to bring people together. We've heard the phrase "for a better politic" for the past 2 weeks since the White House released some of what the president would talk about. But again, Josh Earnest mentioned to some of our local press that do a fine job covering this, that the president will not give specific policy advice. He is not coming here today with a budget in hand for the Illinois General Assembly to pass. By no means. Let's take a quick look here. As you see the doors open in the back for Dick Durbin on this side, look how thick those are. 6 inches on either side for what they nickname the Beast. This is one of several limos that the president rides in. Again, bulletproof glass. This has the ability to be airtight should there be a chemical attack of some sort. And it's amazing that the president and the Secret Service need to think of these things. But this is built on a tank frame. It is not your ordinary limo. These tires are puncture proof. There is no air in them. They are solid rubber. And again, this is what the president has the ability to be safe in as he drives along. So a beautiful shot here as President Barack Obama sits in the presidential limo in the motorcade in front of Air Force One, preparing to head to the state capitol. Again, we do have team coverage here. We will stay right here. Don't go anywhere as we stick with the president's coverage. But we do have team coverage throughout the city of Springfield, ready to cover every angle of the president's visit. Again, he is heading to the state capitol, where in about an hour and a half, he will address the General Assembly about much of what you said, working to make a better politic.
We're also expected to hear a lot of sentiment about what Springfield means to him. This is where his political career was born. He served as state senator from 1997 until 2004 when he was elected U.S. senator. So there's a lot of history for President Obama here, and we're expected to hear that in his speech. A lot of emotional sentiment about what it means for him to be here in Springfield. But we're going to check in with News Channel 20's Eric Feldman, who has been covering the president all morning at the airport. Eric, what can you tell us about the current atmosphere right now that you've just seen the president arrive?
So yeah, we're seeing the motorcade leave. It's about 20 cars deep. We saw a few dozen people leave from the back end. President Obama, of course, leaving the front with Senator Dick Durbin and also Congresswoman Tammy Duckworth. You could see her leave the front of Air Force One as well. Mayor Jim Langfelder and Governor Bruce Rauner went back inside to the airport. They did not go along with this motorcade. As you see, it is leaving, and it will be heading over toward the State House, where the president will be addressing the General Assembly, as we've been talking about all morning. So yeah, I mean, that's really what we've been seeing here, what you guys have been commentating about. And you see there's actually a medic's car that is in this vehicle, in this motorcade, along with state police, Secret Service, all sorts of cars in this motorcade as they head over toward the state capitol.
Again, this is Eric Feldman reporting live from Abraham Lincoln Capitol Airport. As the presidential motorcade heads out of the airport, then it will make its way to the state capitol, where a General Assembly patiently waits, as well as a press pool that is ready and eager to cover the president's first address to a sitting General Assembly. Again, this is the fourth time a sitting president will speak to the Illinois legislature in session. First time for President Obama. Quite a motorcade, Jen. We're not only seeing the limousines there in the beginning, but yeah, a lot of support staff, as we said, and also security staff.
He also, we saw an ambulance at one point. He travels with part of the Springfield Police Department and, of course, the Secret Service in that motorcade. So right now he'll be traveling to the Capitol. Of course, we have team coverage of that, one to break down the speech and also to give you an update on which roads are closed, because that is definitely an issue right now.
That's right. I think we're going to head to break right now. We'll take a quick one as the president gets on the road. When we come back, we'll check in at the state capitol, where President Barack Obama will arrive shortly to address the General Assembly. Back in a moment.